to Shade 45. Yes, indeed, man. We are back with two man. Yo, man, I'm glad to have you up here, man.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
The book.
The book.
The book is official. The filtered read essays from the Invisible Renaissance, man. We were talking over there. I see a lot. I see the low.
Oh yeah,
I see the low. Hello, and the microphone. We was talking about mugs, man.
Yeah. So a lot of this book, I always write a piece called The Real Love, and whatever that year was throughout the whole decade. And in 2018, that shit was too much. So I said, you know what? Let me springboard this into a book, because so many artists that came on my list, I could talk about extra and then really, encapsulate the whole decade, like Planet Asia, Piece of God, Power, and all these people. And so, for example, I wrote MC of the Year, Producer of the Year, and I picked Muggs as the Producer of the Year in 2018, because what he did with Rock Marcy and all the other people, just so much dope people and great albums. And so I used that to springboard to go back into what he did in the 2010s compared to the 90s and the 2000s. You know what I mean? To show the development of the growth, though, the way he's changed the production, you know what I mean, and elevated it on certain levels, and it really influences a lot. And then just, given that context, because I don't write stuff and look at an MC today and say, he's okay and he's great, and then I'm only judging in this era. If he don't match up with the 90s, 80s, and 2000s, he ain't really shit to me either. Because my whole collection is one thing. I don't have brackets of years in the collection, but I will give it to you in the brackets historically like that,
From 10 to 20.
Yeah, so most of this book is really about the 2010s. That's why I call the Invisible Renaissance, So in the book, there's a list of the future of the Invisible Renaissance, and a list of a whole bunch of MCs that you could look up who I'm saying is going to be the dopest of the future, like my brothers Bub Rod, Rim, all those people, and Ito, and some of these people already roam streets. They're already showing and proving.
We have Rum up here, killed it.
Yeah, and he's had incredible albums, and that's gonna be a future work. Where I put all this stuff.
What I like about the book, it's cool, you can read, okay? But a lot of niggas don't like reading. You ain't got no pictures in the next one. A lot of pictures you dumb niggas.
Yeah. I have to put lots of pictures,
I have a couple pictures, but I like it though, man. I like, who did the illustration, who did the book
this
cover?
actually was a picture I took. If you see on the side, on the top, you see Classic Stone Radio. My brother DJ Toshi's Classic Stone Radio podcast.
Shout out to Toshi.
And and I'm sure when you wait for a guest, you could be waiting forever. And we don't have like a great big station, like all that, so people don't always come on time and shit,
Oh,
and we waiting a long time, and I just laid out the low cap on the table, and I said, that look pretty right there.
Yeah.
And I just and he had the crates in the bag, and I was like, yo, it looked grimy, so I just took that picture. And my brother Paragon, who works with me on PremierHipHop.com, he designed the layout of the cover and everything, and it just worked like that. And I just put in everything. And I didn't put pictures because I was like, these poems are pretty enough. You know what I mean? They pretty enough.
You highlight it.
Yeah. So a lot of times what I do when there's an overt poem and stuff, I'll highlight it though. You know what I mean? Because then people are like, what's that have to do with the artist and stuff? And it's very it's not direct. It's indirect. Okay. So as you read it, you go along. You know what I mean? So like when I did one of Kaz albums, I was kind of thinking he called himself Dr. Yen Lo as a group with Preservation doing the beats. So I was thinking like this idea of waiting many days, because the album was called Days with Dr. Yen Lo. So I was like, man, all these days you wait for real hip hop and things like that. So the poetry worked like that. And I said the marvelous martial mechanisms in the manuscripts are manipulated the master mics among the mysterious mass of the mind's moving memories. Spare some years for the science almighty. And then I kept going with the poems.
I was about to say, wait a minute, they're wrong now.
Yeah, and some of them flip like that, and all of that. Like, so it's supposed to be fun to read. So somebody, if they don't even like the music and shit, they could just read the poetry and those aspects and just skip along. And my next book is really literally going to be art on art. And
it's music informative, which is cool.
Oh, indeed. So like, when we write music, a music journalist is supposed to either write something that helps you appreciate what you just heard better, or properly depreciate something that's some bullshit. That we need to like, that shit is not nice like that. You know what I mean? Because that standard fucks shit up too.
People are their own critic and don't understand.
Right.
Like critic real white and don't. Well, that's what. It's like relax. You're not.
Yeah. Writing and all this stuff, I always disagree with that concept of like, music is subjective and stuff. There's a standard to music. You know what I mean? And even if it's subjective at the end to people's like and dislike, the journalist is supposed to make a standard for it. And so that you know where I'm thinking with the shit. And then I put everything in that level. So now I can say, like, if you don't like none of the shit in this book, then you like bullshit. And you don't like what I like. You know what I mean? Because I gave a standard, so your standard isn't mine. But it's clear in there. It's clear in there,
I'd like to thank you for coming through, my brother.
Oh, man, I appreciate it, man.
And repping the book, man. Now, the book is out now.
Yeah, it's out on Amazon, or if people go on my IG, Sunez, S-U-N-E-Z, and they DM me, I could get them an autographed copy, so got the PayPal, the Cash App, so,
You already got it set up.
So it's all set up.
You got security with you, too. So.
Where's God? Peace to God, so magnetic.
Peace.
Word.
So, what if they want to come by the teachings, man?
Well, those are free to all the public, so it's in Harlem, 2122 7th Avenue. The school's always open, but my class is called the Peace Course, Political Education and Civilization Enrichment, teaching them how to deal with this world and also the science of everything in life. So we deal with everything. And the classes is every Thursday from 7 to 10.
All right.
So, anyone could come in there. They're free to come in as long as they respectful, good student, and it's a whole free curriculum.
So it ain't about no karate or nothing either, just learn.
Nah, you know what? I do teach the martial arts. That's why I got all these beads and everything like that. So I do teach that. But that has to be like students that really,
My
really
producer does, what is it, Tai Chi? I know. Jiu-Jitsu.
That's what's up.
And
That's what's up.
sometimes she looks at me like, you said something wrong.
Yeah, that's a tough art right there. Yeah. Most of the stuff I learned was in Wing Chun and the animal styles of Shaolin Kung Fu. So that's what I teach,
So if they go to the school and they say something wrong, or they go in there eating pork, do you ready to fight the nigga like don't eat the pork?
Yeah, we gonna have to take him outside. Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Ain't nobody coming in with that mess like that.
Man, when they have some ribs and they just want to watch it.
Oh no, they gonna have to eat those behind the Apollo.
Okay.
They can eat them by the Apollo and come back in, man. We teach them, but they can't eat that shit in front of me, man.
What's your Instagram, brother?
Sunez, it's S-U-N-E-Z. Yeah.
Okay. Buy the book, support the brother, Boricua in the building.
Word.
I'm like Boricua, but I don't know Spanish.
You honorary.
Thank you,
sure.
bro.
Word is bond.
Shade 45, the Lord Sear Special, let's go. Yeah. Fucking bones, man. That's the man. I used to get